Welcome to the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, where we bring you a weekly dose of powerlifting news, tips, and training advice with a touch of 80s rock ballads. This podcast is presented by Team Rohr Powerlifting, your source of the most comprehensive coaching and meet day preparation. Here are your hosts, Josh Rohr and Lara Sturm.
Welcome to episode 45 of Powerlifting and Power Ballads. I am Josh Rohr.
And I'm Lara Sturm.
Welcome. So this is the long-awaited reveal of both of our number one 80s album. I will just say that we both have had stellar lists so far. And we are going to top it off with our number one. So Lara, let's start with you. I'll save the best for last and I'll go after you.
Oh, we're going right there, huh? Okay. So just a little caveat. I am coming to you from Inglewood, Florida, which is down by, I guess, like Venice Beach area. I'm on vacation, but yet I couldn't take vacation because this is our number one, podcast. This is the one. So anyway, I'm sitting here in the Winn-Dixie parking lot because that's what you do in Florida. Not really. We just watch the sunset. But anyway. All right. So number one, I'm going to go with Ronnie James Dio, Holy Diver. It was on my list from the very beginning. And I saw Ben Green's list and I was like, he is so dead right. Yes. Holy Diver. That is just great album. Back in the day, saw him in concert. Just amazing performer and the sets and just great album. Kind of theatrical-ish, but grungy, hard. Yeah, you just can't beat Dio. You can't have a top five list without having Ronnie James Dio.
Yeah, so there's been a few albums that have been mentioned in the top five that I'm like, that probably should have been on my list. This one, I think it's one of those that I like. It definitely, this one should be on my list. So I've been like agonizing over which of my albums to remove from my list to make room for this. And I can't.
You just can't.
I can't. So I'm really kind of at a loss here, like what to do with Dio, because I love Dio. So I'm to be continued at some point, I guess. I'll let you know.
We're going to have the that show where we talk about everything that should have made our list.
Yeah.
Because I have a few. And it pains me to have it limited to five. It's hard.
Yeah, it is hard. But it also makes it a little controversial. So it makes it more interesting, I think. So
Josh,
one thing,
what's yours?
I think most people probably, based on what I've been talking about so far, probably can take a wild guess here, but hands down, number one for me is Thriller by Michael Jackson.
Very 80s.
Very 80s. And I don't know. I just think that there's so many, not just hit songs on this album, but so many just whatever the word is, epic songs. Just going down the list real quick of like the ones that people probably know when they hear Want to Be Starting Something, PYT, Pretty Young Thing. And those are the two that are pretty big hits, but I don't even consider those like I don't dislike the songs, but they're not like that great of a song to me. And this is still on my number one list. So getting into the songs that are really great to me, Beat It, Thriller, and my all-time favorite Michael Jackson song, Billie Jean.
Yeah. All of those are like, you just can't beat that.
Yeah.
And last week I gave you a little shit and said, no, I think there's a better Michael Jackson album. And then I dove into that album while I was mowing the lawn, because that's what I do. I mow the lawn for hours at a time now. And I dove into that album. I'm like, there's a couple good songs on On the Wall. Oh, God, that's awful that I'm like having a brain fart right now. But it doesn't compare. So you are right, Josh Rohr, you are right. And it also was released in 1979.
The little,
so there's
the tricky
that too.
little thing. Yeah. Got it.
But yeah, I mean, Thriller, great freaking album, and so quintessential for the day. Like watching that video, all those music videos, you know, that was back when MTV had music videos.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep. And going back to my, one of my original, what I said was one of my criteria for my list is having at least one of my lifting songs on it. And Thriller and Billie Jean are go-to songs for me, like when I really need a hype up song. So this is two songs in one album that are on the lifting list. And then there's like 3 other like really big hits too. So I just, I can't not put this number 1. Just can't do it. So, but that is our list. We are going to have some fun with these lists here coming up on social media. So make sure you're following us on Instagram, PL Ballads Podcast. We're going to start this is inspired. I guess I got to shout out where the idea is coming from. Two White Lights podcast did a March Madness bracket of who you think is going to have the better meet at nationals. So we're going to do a similar, obviously it's not March anymore, but we're going to do a similar bracket and let the voters vote on head-to-head matchups of top 5 lists. And we'll just kind of see who comes out victorious. Lara and I will go head-to-head, and we will face the winner of the listener bracket and see whose list is better.
Wow. I feel like we should start talking some, smack talk right now, because you're going down.
My list speaks for itself.
Oh, but then there's the regrets. The albums that didn't make it in, and then I'm like, maybe I should have taken out that Vision Quest soundtrack and taken that out and put in Scorpions' Love at First Sting.
Yeah,
I love the Scorpions.
I do too. I almost think we ought to have we'll have to think on this more. Maybe before we do the voting, we'll have we can come up with the biggest missing outs of other people's lists and have some sort of point value that we can deduct from the votes. If there's one clearly epic album that was left off the list. But again, that's all subjective. So it's just basically made up.
Yeah. You can't edit your list once you've made your list.
It's locked in.
It's in stone.
Yeah. We had Eric Cordero tried. We squashed that shit. No.
No changing your list, damn it.
No changing your list. It's final answer.
There you go. All right, Josh, you're going down.
Yeah.
Because clearly my songs are going to appeal to the powerlifting crowd more because,
You are probably right about that. However,
you're probably not in the majority of people that lift to Michael Jackson, because it wouldn't be my go-to for lifting.
So, what's funny is you are rubbing off on a few people on our team. Amy Pancake plays her music at the gym. She gets there before everybody else, so she gets to play the music. And I've heard Kenny Loggins' "This Is It" multiple times. And I've heard "Die With Your Boots On" multiple times, get right before she gets wrapped.
Nice.
So
Perfect.
I think
love it.
You're rubbing off on her.
I'm influencing. I'm such an influencer.
And I think I'm having weird deja vu because I'm hearing the same songs in similar situations, and it's a different lifter.
Yeah, and Amy's wearing the lucky pink squat suit.
Yeah.
And I think one of my bench shirts or something. So
yeah.
Go Amy.
Yep.
Go get them.
Oh yeah.
I'm psyched.
Yep.
I love hearing people fall in love with gear. And we're kind of getting off on a little tangent here, but Amy being one of those Team Rohr lifters that kind of was I'm not gonna do that. It's gonna be, super claustrophobic, and got into it. It's kind of flirting with it. Oh, it's gonna be too tight. And then now she's I love it. And I'm so high.
Well, it's funny too, because her tight deadlift suit she was in one time and kind of couldn't get it off. And kind of was I'm never, because I'm never wearing this suit again. Basically you just have one bad experience. It's forever tarnished. Well, it's kind of like get back on the horse thing. So we put her back in it a couple weeks ago, and she had a great workout, and then it came right off. And she's like, you could tell she was like conflicted. She's like, I know I'm supposed to hate this thing, but like, I kind of like it now. Like, with the crazy eyes.
Yep. Well, and like, there's that thing of like new gear too, like when you're breaking it in and it's so awful in the beginning. And then that one time you put it on, it's terrible. And the next time's not that bad.
All right. So we'll move on to the powerlifting situation. And Lara, I'll throw this one to you. The situation is your programming calls for 220 times 1. You badly want to go to 225, as that would be a PR and a milestone. Your meet is 5 weeks away. What do you do?
As much as you want to go with the PR, you stick with the program, because PRs should be at the meet and you want to stay fresh. You're still 5 weeks out. That's getting close to peaking, but isn't peaking yet. Hit the PR at the meet, probably even more than 225, hopefully. Stay with the program, stick with the plan, do what you're supposed to do.
Yep, I agree. I think people take those opportunities to, I mean, people take those opportunities to round up to numbers. But if the program, I mean, as a coach, if I write 220, like I damn well mean 220. I don't mean 225. So do your prescribed weight, right?
Right.
So
yeah, because you don't often write the exact weight.
Right.
So that's another good point. Like if that's what your coach is saying, and not, an RPE gives you a specific weight.
And even if it is RPE, like, and you figure everything out, and based on how everything feels, 220 is the number. Well, that's the same as a coach writing the number. Like, don't round up just to have your ego involved.
Right.
So,
if you're going to have a coach writing your programming, then stick with the program.
Yeah. Listen to it.
It's a huge pet peeve of mine that I've seen it a lot of times, and okay, I've done it a couple times.
Everybody does.
But everybody does. You're right. There's a time and a place to stray from the program. But for the most part, it should be 95% straight up by the program. It's that person that's like, yeah, I know I wasn't supposed to max out today, but I'm doing it anyway because I'm hard like that. Like when you're doing that every week, don't pay a coach to coach for you. Don't pay a coach to do programming, because what's the point?
It's kind of a waste of time.
You're doing your own thing.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. And that's my pet peeve as a coach, is like, well, your program is not really working for me. Well, you didn't do it. Like, first of all, like you didn't follow it. So how am I supposed to respond to that?
Right.
So
yeah,
anyway.
That's aggravating.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So I will no longer go on a rant about that today.
I'm sure I will at another point.
Yeah, I will too. All right. So we'll finish off with our new lifter tip. This week's tip is use safeties at the correct height if you have them when benching. Accidents can happen. Take every precaution you can.
Absolutely. Maybe not when you're warming up, but once you're at any normal working weight, I mean, if you've got them, why not use them?
Yeah, I would say
I have seen strange things happen.
Yep. And I'd say use them even at warm-ups, because I've seen somebody warm, a 400-pound bencher warming up with 135, and for whatever reason, it slipped out of their hand and landed on their chest. I mean, 135 falling from the lockout position, that hurts. So just, you have them, set them up. But I've also seen people like, lifting heavy, even with or without a spotter, things still can happen. Like, it doesn't make it more impressive that you don't have safeties there. Like, just use the damn safeties. Don't be an idiot.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen bench presses go wrong so quick that fall to someone's face.
Yeah.
And that's a bad day.
Yeah. But people get the thought process like, well, I can bench 400. So like 315 is easy. Yeah, it might be easy, but if it happens to slip out of your hand or something goes wrong, 315 could do some serious damage if it falls on you. Like, just because it's easy doesn't mean you shouldn't have safeties up there.
Right.
I don't understand that.
Agree with that.
Yeah, to me, I mean, I see people purposely not using them, like, or they'll take them out, like they're in there already and they take them out right before they bench and then go up and work up real heavy. It's like, are you taking them out because they're blocking your camera view? Or are you taking them out because you think it's more impressive that you're benching without safeties, showing like, hey, I don't have to have safeties? I don't know. Either way, I think you're an idiot if you do that. I'm on record with that.
That's bold.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would agree. I mean, if you got them, use them.
Yeah. Smoke them if you got them.
Josh, that was inappropriate.
Not exactly applicable. But anyway, so we'll wrap it up there. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram, especially because we're going to be putting out those brackets for listener voting pretty soon. PL Ballads Podcast on Instagram, and shoot us an email if you have any topics, questions, concerns, or compliments. We'll throw that in there. Shoot us an email at plballadspodcast@gmail.com. That's it for episode 45. We'll see you next time.
See you next time back in Georgia.
Bye now.
Bye now.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode of the Powerlifting and Power Ballads podcast, please remember to subscribe and share it with your friends.